Hello everyone. Today we are going to be looking at a concept known as ambiguity. And as you all will see, this is a concept that is very relatable and it highlights one of the complexities of language. Language can be ambiguous, right? But what is ambiguity? So ambiguity occurs when a word, phrase, or sentence can be interpreted in more than one way. So basically, when a word, phrase, or sentence can have more than one meaning, okay? And as I would have said earlier, these will be ambiguous. So this is the adjective that emerges from the noun ambiguity. Now, why is ambiguity a problem? Well, if we are trying to understand what is being said, then we need to know which meaning is being conveyed, okay? Because ambiguity can lead to misunderstandings. So it's important that the meaning is clear, right? Now, there are two types of ambiguity. We have structural and we have lexical, okay? Now, when it comes to structural ambiguity, which is also known as syntactic ambiguity, this occurs when a sentence can be interpreted in more than one way because of the arrangement of the words within it. Right. So we will have a sentence and due to the arrangement of the words, the sentence will be ambiguous. Right? So usually there's a phrase within the sentence that is the source of the ambiguity, which we're going to see shortly with the examples. So, one, the woman saw the man with the binoculars. That can be interpreted in two ways. The first way, the man had the binoculars. Secondly, the woman had the binoculars. Okay? So, who held the binoculars? That would be the question. So as you see, I would have highlighted the prepositional phrase with the binoculars because this is the source of the ambiguity, right? This prepositional phrase with the binoculars can either be modifying the man or it can be modifying the woman. So how do we know? Well, a foolproof way to disambiguate any sentence would be to provide more information, right? So we can reword this and we could say the woman used the binoculars to view the man. So obviously in that case, it is clear that the woman was the one holding the binoculars, right? Similarly, we can say the man used the binoculars to view the woman, right? So once we provide additional information, we can easily disambiguate this sentence. So as you see, this is the first example of structural ambiguity, right? The arrangement of the words within a sentence makes it ambiguous, okay? Secondly, please put the cup on the table by the window. Once again, that can be interpreted in two ways. The first way, one, put the cup which is on the table by the window. Two, put the cup on the table which is by the window. So the source of ambiguity is going to be by the window. When we say by the window, once again, that's another prepositional phrase. By the window, are we referring to the table or are we referring to the cup? Because if we refer to the table, that means that the table is by the window, located by the window, okay? Whereas if we say that the by the window could be referring to the cup, where we want the cup to be placed, right? So yes, that is important. That is very important. So once again, if we want to disambiguate this, we can say, please put the cup, and we can use a relative pronoun like that which that is on the table by the window. Because the which is would mean that we want the cup, that the cup is already on the table and we want it to be placed by the window. So we can add a relative pronoun just to make the meaning clear. Okay? Right. So that would be one way that we can disambiguate this sentence, right? But once again, context is going to make the most difference. So if it is understood based on other details that were mentioned in the conversation or whatever the situation is, you will not need to disambiguate this. But because we have taken these sentences out of context and they are in isolation, we would need to provide more information. But chances are, if these sentences were to come up in a conversation, it would be clear to the speakers which meaning was meant, given that these sentences will not occur in isolation. Okay? So just for the examples, they are in isolation without any type of context. So a foolproof way to disambiguate any sentence would be to provide more information. So, right. Syntactic ambiguity, structural ambiguity would occur based on the arrangement of the words within the sentence. Okay? Which will lead to the ambiguity. Right. Now, we move on to the second type of ambiguity, and this is called lexical ambiguity. So this occurs when a single word can have more than one meaning. Okay, so now we're talking about a single word being ambiguous. Okay, so for example, the pastor married my mother. That can be interpreted in two ways. The first way is that the pastor performed the ceremony, right? So the pastor was the one who oversaw the ceremony. And the second meaning is that the pastor and the mother are husband and wife. Which meaning do we want to convey? Well, once again, we need to provide more details. So the pastor married my mother and they are now husband and wife. So obviously, if I say that, I'm referring to meaning number two. That the pastor and the mother are husband and wife. The pastor married my mother. Okay, if I wanted to convey the first meaning, that the pastor performed the ceremony, there are various ways, right? As long as it's clear that that is the meaning that you want to convey. So the pastor married my mother because, well, if I say because, the information that I'm going to provide would still make the sentence ambiguous. So, married my mother. Okay, the pastor married my mother because he wanted to ensure that the ceremony was well organized or something like that. Yes, because even though you could still say that maybe ambiguous, but based on what I said afterwards, it is is most likely that I'm referring to meaning number one, that the pastor performed the ceremony. Because I mean, if you're going to marry a woman and you want it to be well organized, so you married her so that the ceremony will be well organized. No, that wouldn't really make any sense in that situation. So clearly, we're referring to the first meaning, which is the pastor was the one who performed the ceremony, right? Secondly, the bat hit the boy in the head. So bat is our ambiguous word. The flying mammal hit the boy in the head. So bat could refer to the flying mammal or creature. And two, the tool hit the boy in the head. So the tool which is used in sports like cricket and baseball. So which meaning do we want to convey? Once again, we provide more information. The bat hit the boy in the head while it was trying to escape. So obviously in that case, we said it was trying to escape. So we obviously are referring to the flying mammal, right? And if we want to use the tool, the bat hit the boy in the head during the cricket match. Right. Yeah. Or no, rather. Let's rephrase that or change it completely, right? He threw the bat during the cricket match. He threw the bat during the cricket match and the bat hit the boy in the head. Okay, so yeah, that definitely would indicate that we want to convey meaning too. So yes, when it comes to lexical ambiguity, you're going to have a word that is going to be ambiguous even without context. The context cannot make it ambiguous. So if I extract these words from these sentences, they're going to be ambiguous. So that's what we call lexical ambiguity, where the ambiguity occurs in a single word, right? So this brings us to the end of this lesson on ambiguity. I hope you understand this concept. And now we are going to proceed to a quiz. So we move on to the final segment, which of course is a quiz. Now, identify the type of ambiguity and provide the possible interpretations. So we have two tasks. We have to first identify the type of ambiguity, structural or lexical, and then we have to provide possible interpretations. So let us begin. Squad helps dog bite victim. Or squad helps dog bite victim. Now, let's first identify the part of the sentence that produces the ambiguity. Squad helps dog bite victim. This is the source of the ambiguity. So there are two potential meanings. One, squad helps the dog to bite the victim. So this would be the first interpretation. Secondly, squad helps the, let's say, person who was bitten by the dog. Yes. Or in this case, the squad helps the dog to bite the, let's say person here. Let's not say victim. Let's say person. Let's say person. Right. So that would be, those would be two possible interpretations of that sentence. So what would that be? Since it is in a phrase, we would say that that would be structural. So this will be an example of structural ambiguity. Very good. 2. You look more like your mother than your sister. Once again, let us first identify the source of the ambiguity. You look more like your mother than your sister. So than your sister is going to be the part of the sentence that produces the ambiguity. Because than your sister could refer to your mother, or it could refer to the first part, you. Right? You look more. So let's break it down. The first meaning, you look more like your mother than your sister. Okay, so you look more like your mother than you look like your sister. That's the first meaning. All right? You look more like your mother than you look like your sister. Meaning number 2, you look more like your mother than your sister looks like her. You look more like your mother than your sister looks like her. So you look more like your mother than your sister looks like her. Right. So you look more like your mother than your sister. You see? Same thing. So that would be structural because it is based on the arrangement of the words. 3. They did the toast early in the day. So where's the ambiguity? The ambiguity is occurring in toast. Toast could refer to bread, bread, or 2, toast could refer to celebration. When we do a toast, we celebrate something. So both of those can be conveyed by toast. So toast is going to be ambiguous. Therefore, toast is going to be an example of lexical ambiguity. Because if we take toast, if we extract toast from this sentence, it will be ambiguous. The sentence is not making it ambiguous. It's already ambiguous, okay? So that would be lexical. 4, we saw her duck. Duck, of course. Duck can refer to the bird. Oh, my bad. Yes. The bird. Or 2, duck can refer to the, how would I put this? We saw her duck. The movement. Let's say movement. The movement. Yes. So we saw her duck. On one hand, we could be referring to the bird, or on the other hand, we could be referring to movement, ducking out of the way. And that would, of course, be lexical, because without the sentence, it would still be ambiguous. All right? So yes, I hope that this is clear now. And I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, of course. Many thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.